Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Marketer's Blueprint podcast. I, of course, am your host, Nathan Gibson, and again with me, I have the one and only Gabe Arnold, and we are coming up on Easter weekend as of recording this. Gabe, do you have any plans for this weekend?
Nice and quiet. So we don't do a whole lot on the holidays except for work less and relax. So that's a nice holiday to me.
There you go. We're recording this on a Thursday. I get Friday off. I'm going to go spend some time with some friends and actually go spend some time with some family as well. So it should be a nice, relaxing weekend to cap off a great week. We've had a lot of great stuff going on here at BME. It's been a busy season, diving a little bit deeper into Q2. And we have a lot of great stuff to talk to you folks about today. So we're going to get things started off by this, Gabe. So one thing I've been noticing recently, something that's been on my mind, is one of the most underrated levers in marketing is belief, right? Not hype, not exposure, not even engagement necessarily, but belief. So if your audience truly believes in what you do, they don't just buy, right? They tell their friends, they root for you, and they oftentimes choose you in your business, even though there might be cheaper options that exist, which we know is super important to folks. So, Gabe, I wanted to ask you, what causes somebody to believe in your brand?
Well, it's a great topic and it's really deep because belief is all about identity. And so, in order for someone to believe in your company and your brand, you have to show up in such a way that it resonates with them and they go, "Oh, like that could be me or that is me," is the ideal. And there's a lot of like really great examples of belief in marketing and business that are really great to understand. And what the first one that comes to mind is when you think about Apple. And I just read Steve Jobs' biography like in the last 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched his movie and I followed him for years because think he was just a revolutionary character in the history of the world. And one of the things that stands out the most about how he has built in a healthy way a cult following, for his brand, and now he's no longer on the planet, but everybody is still in his tribe of
Yeah.
followers, and just a cult following is early on he really leaned into who he was. And so when he worked at Atari, he would show up in bare feet and, hadn't showered in a week or two is what people suspected based on how he smelled. And he just embraced who he was, and he didn't care. He didn't care what people thought of him. And he was so creative and productive and unique that his boss there changed his shift so he would work at night when nobody was there because he was so off-putting to everybody around him. The way he
Right.
hair. He was a super hippie back then, bare feet, smelled, was his whole life. He was always doing crazy diets. Like he would for months at a time only eat carrots and apples, like literally.
The
So,
horse diet.
so he is just like a crazy, crazy, awesome individual. And so the belief that he built in his brand was the most honest, direct reflection of who he was as a person and a business leader, because he was a crazy one. He was, somebody that saw the world differently. And he refused to let any advertising go out or any products go out that didn't meet his standards. And he was hard to work for. He was very tough, and hard to work with. But out of the real culture, the real personality of who he is, starting with his personality, that created the culture of people that could tolerate him or loved being around him, most of the time anyway. And that is
Sure.
what led to the real, authentic brand messaging of Apple. And I don't have the phrasing memorized, but their early ads were about like, here's to the crazy ones, the people that see the world differently and believe that they can change it. And that
Yeah.
was the essence of his messaging. And so when he said that, it was in direct contrast and very contrary to the standard kind of computer industry of the age, which was, IBM and Microsoft were big players and a
Mm-hmm.
couple other big ones, but they were the giants. And they were like, here's our business applications and here's our suit and tie. And, we show up to work like everybody else does. And by him being himself and then publicly broadcasting his personality through the brand of his company, he he just stood out in a crazy way. And what that allowed him to do, which is absolutely wild, is because he so clearly communicated who he was and who Apple was, he created this experience for people that even just watched his ads,
Yeah.
didn't even own his products, or saw the newspaper ads, or saw the crazy Super Bowl ads, and he created this like rally cry of people that were like, I'm a creative and I love computing and I love art and I love science, but I will not wear a tie and I will not conform. And he understood who he was, and he understood the culture that he grew up in, at such a deep level. And by doing that, by just clearly in such a deep, pure, authentic way representing himself and his company's culture, he created this beacon of light for everybody that was crazy and weird and different and didn't want to do the corporate thing and didn't want to be in that other space. And so they identified. They identified with Apple and Steve Jobs, and he,
Yeah.
on the regular, got standing ovations at multiple. I don't know if he ever didn't get a standing ovation when he introduced a product. Like it was 95% of the time, I'm confident.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that level of belief comes from true authenticity in you as the leader of your business, and the leader. You know, you could be the owner, you could be a leader in your business, you could be a leader in your role. And when you show up that way, then you create this resonance and this awareness for the people around you of like, oh man, look at that person. They're living who they are. They're truly authentic. I want to be like that. And something inside of me is like that.
Right.
And when we go to that depth of identity, in it, the truest, most authentic way, you cannot fake it. If you try to fake it, the backlash is so bad. So don't fake it. Be you.
It's important.
And then people will identify with that, and then you need to deliver on the promise. You need to deliver something that's amazing. 1,000 songs in your pocket was absolutely revolutionary, and when it shipped, people were having a music experience unlike anything they'd ever had in their life when they tried the iPod.
Crazy.
It was game changing. So he created this belief and this buildup and just this strong resonance and desire. And then he shipped something that was unlike anything else, and it was so much better. He was so obsessively passionate and competitive about user experience, because he knew that every touch, every click, putting, an iPod or an iPhone or a, iPad or MacBook in your hands for the first time, he thought about the sensory aspects, the weight, how it turned on, how the sound comes on, how the unboxing happens. Like, he was so committed to delivering an exceptional experience that then it reinforced the belief that people hoped was right when they felt that inside and said, I am a different one. I'm a crazy one. I'm a creative. I can change the world. And then he delivered that promise with the product and what he delivered. And because of that, because he was so hyper focused on that, when they had this big thing that was in the press, like probably before 2010, but somewhere in that range,
Sure.
what was called Antenna Gate. And it was basically you couldn't make phone calls on iPhones.
Sounds familiar.
Because they had an engineering problem, and like if you held your phone too close to your ear, it shorted out the antenna electronics, and your phone dropped, or your call dropped. Back when people used to call people on phones, but that happened, and everybody rallied around him, and they kept buying iPhones, and it was a big news media blast of like, everything's gonna go sideways, and he handled it, and it was stressful, but
sure.
It was because of the depth of belief that his audience had in him and his products. And so when you can get people to identify with you and your brand at the deepest level, that only happens when you're brave enough to be truly yourself inside the company. Your company is truly authentic in your culture and who you are as a team.
Yeah.
And you deliver what you promise, and you own up to the failures that you're going to make in front of your customers and publicly. And so that level of brand loyalty, it cannot be manufactured. It can only be, we can only expand and, highlight and bring light to who we really are. And then the right people will work with us and work with our company. And so if you don't have crazy deep belief from your customers, your clients that you work with, then that's a you problem as a leader in the business, because you're not showing up authentically. And you may be showing up authentically, and you may have a significant amount of personal work and development to do as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a creator. But those are the really core foundational things that we have to pay attention to when we talk about belief in marketing, because you cannot manufacture it, but you can highlight and display the real things that you do as a team, as a, as a solopreneur or whatever you're doing, and
Yeah.
as a company. And that's the crucial foundation of all that.
Yeah, that's such an incredible story. I mean, Steve Jobs is so instrumental in not only like a technical age of growth with all the iPhones, iPads, Macs, all the operating systems and things like that, but his experience as an entrepreneur. And so that's something we've talked about all the time is his dedication. And one thing I thought that was really important that you said is the level of intention that he puts into everything that he does, down to the smallest, most seemingly microscopic detail, right? One thing that is always cool is like the packaging. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Apple's like the company that started that, right? With like really intricate, really cool to use. Like it opens a certain way and another compartment opens. It's all clean. Everything is under the product. You see this bright, shiny new phone, and it's like it almost shines like a golden ray. You're like, oh, and you see like the new
It does.
product.
We feel that as the Mac loyalists. And
Exactly.
he engineered it to make a swoosh sound. That's how.
What? I didn't know that.
If you hold an Apple product box and you unwrap it, not only is it super easy to unwrap, and there's like the little the way the
The
sticker,
pull tab,
the
yeah.
pull tabs, yeah. But then if you open the box for the first time, it goes.
That's so crazy.
It,
I'm personally not an Apple guy.
We'll
I've
convert you. Just stick with me. We're gonna
I
convert you. You're halfway there. I will
I
get
know.
you there. No,
I know, I know. But it's not because I'm adverse to Apple products. I see the level of intention and belief that they've had over the years, and I really do need to either read that book or watch that documentary because he's really an incredible person, and it really harkens to what we're talking about today, belief, right? We talk about all the time on the show sales and marketing and Gabe, almost every aspect of business is the transference of trust. And
yeah.
that's something you've taught me. And so how important is it to you to relate those two things together, to getting people to believe in what you do in the product or service and being able to get them to trust in that? What's been your experience with that?
Yeah, so with the foundation of belief, we have given somebody the opportunity to trust themselves because they're willing to trust themselves enough to say, this is right for me. And what they're
Yeah.
resonates and this feels true and right. And this is going to solve my problem. It's going to help me. It's going to help make my world and the greater world better. That is the core belief and desire that I believe everybody has in different ways and different levels. So if you are showing up authentically and there's trust in how you operate and speak and communicate and what your brand does, and your brand is all your actions, to be clear in this conversation,
Yeah.
you only then represent your actions with images and words and videos and all that other stuff. But when you get somebody to the point where they trust themselves enough to believe you and believe that it's safe to take the next step, then you must deliver on the trust, because otherwise you can create an exponential negative hole, black hole of negativity, of energy and emotions and everything, because there's a secondary aspect to almost every purchase made in the world. And that is like, when I convince you, I'm half joking, to become an Apple fanboy, there's going to be a conversation between you and your girlfriend or your
Right.
family or wife or
Who
what.
does have an Apple, by the way?
So and if she didn't, we'll say for the scenario, because she's already farther ahead than you, which I'm glad to hear. Then you would have to go. Normally, I spend $1,000 on a laptop, but I believe that it's the right move to spend 2,000 or 25,000 or 2,500 on a laptop. And so you will have the belief, and then you're going to make this bet. You're going to make this bet that Apple is going to take care of you, and you're going to trust them at that point, and you make the purchase. If you're right, you reinforce for yourself the confidence of that belief, and you reinforce that your belief was helpful, because it wouldn't be wise for you to go spend $2,500 on a piece of junk. That would
Sure.
be to your relationship with your fiance. You guys you guys are together and doing life together and everything. And so when a purchase is made, there is always a secondary silent stakeholder. And so you can either make the
That's a
right
good
purchase
point.
and be proud of it, and so I was right and I bet on myself properly, or you can make the purchase, and I've done this, and my wife will come back and remind me that wasn't a really wise choice. And who cares about the money I lost? then I look bad, as I should if I flippantly made a decision. But
Sure.
it's also on the delivery. It's the company that's making this promise of trust.
Yeah.
If they don't deliver on trust, there's this massive negative impact in so many layers. But when Apple makes this promise, and I went and bought my most expensive Mac I've ever bought, which was my Mac Studio for like $7,500. So I know it'll last me for 6 or 7 years.
For sure.
I went and made this big leap, and I was like, I've never spent that much on a Mac, but I trust them. I bought it, and it has saved me time every day. I love using it, and there's no questions asked of my wife that she can see I'm more productive. I love it. I'm enjoying work because I'm using the tool that is most suited for me because I'm one of the crazy ones.
You just like it, you know? Like you just
Yeah,
like it.
it just absolutely. I'm smiling talking about a product. Like that's how good they are.
I
And
have a good example too. I'll share it here too
yeah,
cuz this is really important I think to dive into this. So, I'm a big card game fan.
yeah,
Everybody sees on the episode every week all my nerdy stuff. I have nerdy tattoos. It's who I am. I have been using this brand of card sleeves for probably 10 years. They're called Dragon Shields. They are the premium, most high quality card sleeves ever. They are textured to where they are one color on one side and black on the other rather than the same color, so they're called dual matte, and they are extremely durable. So they keep my expensive cardboard that I enjoy buying very well protected. And I geek out about it because they have built, I believe in these sleeves. They will keep my cards that I spend my fun money on very safe and protected. And so I also did research on this company before I invested. Every single one of the decks that I play in the card game that I play is in those sleeves because they beat out all the competition and I believe in them. They have built brand loyalty within me. I won't look at another card sleeve, just like you'll never look at an Android or anything like that. And so that's what's important when we talk about belief in your products and in your services and what you do. This you guys see me and Gabe geeking out over things that we enjoy. This is the type of reaction that you can invoke in your consumers, in your clients, in your prospects if they believe in your brand, right, Gabe? And how important is it to you when we're talking about this from a business perspective to inflect that on people who might be interested, to get that emotional, like almost giddy response and like, this is the right thing for me and I'm going to trust this for years to come. How important is that?
yeah, it's crucial because Apple and what is it? What's the company name you just said?
Dragon Shield. Dragon
Dragon
Shield.
Shield's got free advertising here, and like in the best possible way.
Exactly.
They're not show sponsors, unfortunately, yet, but
Maybe one day I'll get a partnership. Use my discount link. Like,
but they got free advertising because we believe in it. And I also
yeah,
can say without question with Apple, and I would bet $10,000, maybe $100,000 on this statement. Like I know that everybody at Apple believes in the products they put out. They love
yeah,
them, they believe in them. And I would bet $100,000 that if we brought the owner, chief leader, CEO, or whatever the highest level role is in your card cover company,
yep,
um, that they would believe that we have the best product. And here's why: because they
exactly.
use it. I would venture to say that they're card game players too. I'd be shocked if they're not.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
They are card sleeves developed by people who love card games, and so they put that level of intention into every one of their products. And
Yep.
that's why the whole episode today is about belief. And like you said, people will see through companies that don't believe in their product.
Yeah.
Like it's palpable. You can feel it when somebody is passionate. Like with my example, the artwork is akin to people who like fantasy. It's usually dragons or different fantasy level stuff. They even have little stories on the back because a lot of the people that invest in this type of product like reading fantasy. What do you know, Gabe? I read fantasy books. I have a fantasy book tattoo. And so it's that level of intention that they put into their products that creates lifelong customers, which I am, you are, for multiple different things. And it's so cool because they create this like energy that I was thinking, I'm like, he's so passionate about Mac. What is a good example? Right in the background, I have like 6 of their there's like 4 boxes over there because
Yeah.
I invest in those. And so I just think it's so cool, right?
Yeah, and we are brand ambassadors, and they don't pay us $1 for us.
That's
Yeah,
exactly.
we could talk for another hour about how much we love these companies. And
Yep.
so, what's crucial when you're an entrepreneur, when you're starting up, when you're running a small business, even when you're years into it, is make sure that you put that level of intention into your products and services and think about, am I creating the customer experience I want? Would I love doing this if I was in my customer's position?
Yeah.
Because as an entrepreneur, business owner, you are not your customer. But that's a hard thing to understand, that because you're not your customer, because you have insider knowledge, and you may
Truly.
have different preferences of what most of your customers consume media wise. Like a great example is, I am not a video guy. I have
Yeah.
created probably thousands of
Sheesh.
hours of content on video. I'm a
Yeah.
creator. I'm a video creator. I am not a video consumer by natural nature. Now I'm growing and I'm learning and I'm doing more, and I'll get there when I get there. But I do know that there's a significant portion of our audience that watches the show and like watches
Yep.
YouTube and uses short form video, and video is a preferred format for so many different industries and people that you want to
Yeah.
serve, different target markets. So I'm not my target audience. And I will also make sure that I just am relentless in my pursuit of excellence of the content we put out, the products and services we deliver. And every year, instead of thinking, can I launch a new product or a new service or a new business? I have learned, this took me a long time to learn, that it's more important when I have that spark of creativity and energy and drive to go, man, I'm going to take a look at this department in my business, or I'm going to take a look at this product or service, or this email, series or training that we give people. I'm going to go back through it and say, how can I make it better? How
There
can
you
I
go.
solve problems at the next level? How can I make people feel like, if it's a video, it's a little easier, but in email
Sure.
or product or service, how can I make people feel like they're sitting here with Nathan and I, or Ashley, or Danielle, or Kayla, or Moonish, or Rolly, or whoever on our team? How can I make them feel like they're in the room with the BME people getting that experience?
Yeah.
And that's what has to drive us, is the relentless pursuit of excellence, is how we continue to deepen belief for ourselves in our product and service. And that comes through in every word and everything we create in advertising and marketing, because it's not about the perfect words. It's not about never having a typo. It's not about never having something in an image or a video. It's like, it's not quite right. Or sometimes, like, randomly, there's stuff on my desk that I'm like, I probably should have not had the desk for the video. That doesn't matter. What matters is that people feel the energy and intention you put into every word and detail in what you do. And that is what creates belief and trust.
I love that so much, and it just goes to show like how we show up and serve every day. And I love this topic today because the foundational principles for being an entrepreneur or a business owner or being an associate of a business is belief, right? You started Business Marketing Engine because you believed in something. You believed you had value to give to the world, to create a team, and to, you know, give way into your entrepreneurial vision. That trickled down 18 years, well, maybe 17-ish when I got hired, later into my belief in working with the team and being able to sit here today and record a podcast with you. It was all a transference of belief. If you didn't believe on that first day you sat down and you thought Business Marketing Engine would be a good name for a company, and you wrote that down somewhere 18 years ago, all the way until in 2023 when you hired me, like the belief was there the whole time.
Yeah.
And your consumers will feel that. It's the love and intention that you put into your business. Because one thing I did definitely want to touch on today is consumers, buyers, customers, whatever you like to call them, are skeptical these days. They always come with a fair level of hesitancy. Even when you were buying your first Apple product, when I bought my first Dragon Shield product, I was in the research phase. I was checking it out. I didn't know if it was something worth investing in. But once I saw the level of intention, same with you in this company, it blossomed into a relationship where you and I have been buying these types of products for years, right? And
Yeah.
that's so important because it all originated, everything comes back to the belief in what you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You have to believe in it, and you have to believe in yourself enough to say, my best today will not be good enough tomorrow. And that's a good thing. So I can look
Yeah.
at, like a fun one that I like to look back at, because I think it will outlast me. So I'm proud of that. Is that when we helped the 92nd Street Y in New York City launch Giving Tuesday?
Yeah.
Uh, First of all, I had a great friend who believed in me and said, "Oh, Gabe and his team are the guys and gals to build this." he believed in me enough to choose me as the recommendation, and then I worked with the biggest Y in the country, or one of them, and we launched Giving Tuesday. And I'm so proud of what we did as a team then. I was so honored to be a part of it. And this is 10 years ago. I have to look at how long, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now, billions and billions and billions of dollars are given to nonprofits every Tuesday after Black Friday. And we got to be a part of that.
It's
And
amazing.
being very honest, if I go back, because I still have the files, because I'm a total nerd and keep everything. If I go back and look at that work, if I were to put that work out today as BME work, I would be embarrassed, and that's
Yeah.
a good thing, because what I did yesterday was always my best effort to do my absolute best work, but it absolutely cannot be static. And so that's why the relentless pursuit of excellence in your products and your services and always looking to be better should be our drive. And we have to do all we can to deliver the absolute best service to our customers today. And it should grow and improve and change. And that's who people trust, people that are growing and changing and always getting better. And we have the most amazing clients here, some that have been with us for 20 years and 10 years and 5 years and a long time. And our greatest clients, our greatest partner clients, are always willing to give us feedback. And like, this part wasn't super smooth. And the first
Yeah.
thing I do is I'm like, thank you so much. It means so much to me that you're willing to give us feedback, because we are going to grow from that. And so that approach to business is the way to be successful.
I love that so much. And guys, we want to hear from you too. We talk about believing in these products that we invest in and what we do from a business perspective. Tell us down in the comments a brand you believe in and why you do, or why you want people to believe in your brand, because we love to hear stories like that. Each and every week we talk on this show, which we're about to, and personally just in our day-to-day lives, about wins we experience. It's so important to share those things because it shows the belief that you have in your business, and you can hear back from the people you've served of how it impacted their lives. And so if you guys have a second, drop a comment below and let us know a story along those lines. We would love to hear it. And then I wanted to wrap up real quick with a win. We always have to talk about a win. We've had a really great conversation today, but we always got to talk about a win. And so recently, a startup client in the early stages of their business really needed some direction. We had already partnered with the client and they needed some direction. And what we did is we helped nail down their offerings and figured out the best way to present them to their specific target audience. So how did we do it? I'll get your thoughts on this too, Gabe, but from my perspective, with a little bit of business coaching and our marketing strategies team's expertise, we were able to work with this client to really truly refine what they'll be offering to their audience. This type of clarity gives us a clear roadmap for creating all of the marketing materials that they'll need to succeed. And so what is your opinion on how we were able to do that for such a client like that?
Yeah, so with mastering your menopause, what was awesome is our client is like such an expert in the space and has such a heart of service for women in that season of life,
Yeah.
and which is the first thing we look at. We want people that are just passionate about serving their audience and their customers and clients. And so from that strong foundation, what was awesome is that she was able to just be really open and say, like, I know exactly the big outcomes I want to achieve, but I don't know how to get there. And like, just honest, transparent communication is so valuable to us. And so from there, one important thing about BME is that all of our leaders and all our department leaders, and this is cascading now down into all of our team members, they're trained to coach business owners. They're trained,
Yeah.
and they have the principles and tool sets and everything that I've learned in the last 25 years of all the business failures and all the successes and the well over 1,000 business owners and startups that I've coached. And we've worked with over 10,000 business owners here at BME. And so we have taken very intentionally all of those trainings, all those learnings. And fortunately, with technology where it is today, the last 5 or 6 years of recordings and transcripts, and we take all that stuff and we extract. Here's the principles that we operate from. So both the team and myself were able to work with this client and coach her through. Here's the way to simplify and clarify the key things you need to serve with your audience first, so that you can build to the big picture of being the Apple of your brand, right? The huge, expansive, we can solve it all and we're the greatest, actually be of how we show up and serve. So we simplified and clarified. We built frameworks around what needed to happen when. We built things out phase by phase in a strategic, BME execution framework. We did all the market research so we could deepen our clients' knowledge of her audience, and so that we could be fully aligned with between Team BME and our client. That's this hidden benefit of doing the market research. Is not only do our clients get to get a much deeper view of who they serve, but then we get to begin the project and the work in this long-term multi-year partnership that we have with all of our clients from a aligned place, the same foundation. We know what the audience is about. We know what the customers are. And so with all those steps in place, it was awesome to go from grand vision, what's going to happen over the next 10 years, to what are we going to do in the first 90 days working together? And what are we going to do in the first year working together? And so it's just awesome to see the team really coach and serve her really well. I was honored to have some time and to coach her as well, and just walk through like the mindset and the strategy and what it's going to take to win in the long run, because none of us start a business to blow up and fade away in 6 months or a year or 2 years. We all start a business as entrepreneurs to make a permanent, lasting impact on the world, whether we build and own the business for decades or we build the business up and make it successful and then somebody buys it, or it spins into something else. We all start from that place of wanting to make the world a better place. And so it was just a huge win with our client to be able to take her incredible expertise, her deep love and care for women in this crucial, beautiful season of life, and make it practical and take the step-by-step, things and lay those out and then walk through these early phases. And so I have no doubt that Mastering Your Menopause is going to be a massively successful brand that changes people's lives. And it's an honor for us here at BME to be part of that process.
And she wouldn't be able to do that. I'll tie everything together here without believing in what she does. She is so passionate about what she does, and that's why we love working with business owners like that, because it makes it easy for us. They believe in what they do. They're going to serve people. All we have to do is help them market it, and it creates this beautiful, beautiful collaboration that I always love to be a part of. And so, Gabe, I thoroughly enjoyed being here with you yet again, and all of you watching. If you like this video, throw it a thumbs up for us. It helps us out a lot, especially over there on YouTube. Share it with your friends. We always love to have more people join us in the family, the Marketer's Blueprint family. We put out a new episode every Friday, and we would love to have you guys tune in. And again, as always, as we were just talking about, we love sharing wins like this with you folks. And so if you want a team of dedicated experts working around the clock for your business success, reach out in the comments below and book a call with me. I would love to have a conversation with you and learn more about what you are experiencing in 2025 so far. And then finally, we also have our free newsletter. If you guys would like to see what kind of marketing trends we are up to here recently, we would love to have you guys over there. But Gabe, it was a pleasure as always. I hope all of you have a great weekend, and we will see you next time.
See you, everyone.
Bye-bye.